This is a HeadGum podcast.
Okay, dope. Hey everybody, and welcome to Dynamic Banter. Those were chimes. This is your boy Mike Falzone. Very apparent by his absence. That's not the phrase. Steve's not here. And he is in Austin, Texas at Fantastic Fest right now. He's being weird with all the other weird people down there. And it's one of his happy places, and I'm very happy for him. So I had to find somebody who could replace him because I really didn't want to do this by myself this time. And that was pretty much the only criteria in picking a guest. And so I handpicked one of my favorite boys, one of the tallest boys. We talked about you on the podcast. Anyway, so Andrew Delman, welcome to Dynamic Banter.
Thank you for having me. I am here. I didn't speak early because I've learned from the past. They're like, you haven't been introduced yet.
Andrew Delman.
That will be our only sound effect device for the podcast are the chime.
If you want to hear it again, you could rewind the podcast. So I thought we'd do something a little bit different for this episode. And I created a segment that's going to run throughout the whole program. Okay. Called 35 Questions for Delman.
Oh, no. It's an interview? 35 times? 12, 13. Oh, my God. And at the end of each question, we ding it off.
I lost count, to be honest.
About close.
This is 34 questions for Delman. Oh, 34. I got to go back and do it again. These are 18 questions designed to have the perfect interview experience with you. One of my good friends. These are things that I've always wanted to know.
Okay.
And things that I just think would be fun to talk about for a little while.
Let's get real.
And in the middle, we'll break so we can make money.
Okay.
And when I say me, I mean me and Steve.
Yeah. I lost money coming here.
You absolutely did. First question, and I've always wanted to ask you this, and please don't cheat. I know it's tough, but please don't cheat. Yeah. What's your deal?
I mean, I love a good deal.
Yeah.
That's probably my deal.
That's getting a deal. That's your brand?
That's my brand, is getting a deal. What do you mean, what's my deal?
What's your deal, man?
I mean, I like blackjack a lot.
Yeah.
I have no idea. That's such like a non-specific specific question.
Let's say that somebody just walks
up. I feel like what's your deal is normally like an aggressive, like, what's your deal, man?
You could take it that way if you like.
That's how I take it all bad.
You know that's not how I'm saying it to you.
So what's my deal?
Like, what's your deal?
Just trying to figure it out, man. That's my deal. I don't have any specific, like, thing.
You think that's doing what I wanted to do?
Yeah. The resonation.
You don't have one specific deal?
Well, I was like, having a panic attack the other day, and I read my birth chart, which that's when you know, it's like horoscopes. That's when you know you're like real desperate for just anything.
You're like, give me some good news.
Yeah. And it's like,
it says here a big change is coming.
Well, because I'm a Gemini.
Yeah.
So, and wherever the moon was in my chart, I don't fucking know. I just kind of was like putting it together. They say that I focus on too many things at once, which is very true.
Yeah.
It's like, they're like, you have 7,000 hobbies. And I'm like, I do. And so it's hard to have one deal. I have like a lot of deals. Some of the deals, they just kind of go. And then some just stay. Like,
your deal is having a lot of deals.
Yeah, too many deals.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I was trying to focus on one. It's like I make bread. I like old watches. Yeah. I do stand-up.
We'll get into all of it.
Yeah, so I like old cars. So it's like there's a lot of deals. But I do... Right now, stand-up is my deal. It was sketch and improv for a long time, but they kicked me out. Kind of like Scientology. They disconnected.
The hierarchy of sketch and stand-up?
Yeah.
It was like
Survivor. I thought it was like a sketch. They're like, and you are done. They like put my torch out.
They, in the theater of life, it was a blackout.
Yeah, and they're like, I was like, oh.
Somebody ran in front of you and told you not to come back.
It was Lee, actually. They made her do it. She's like, I'm sorry. But.
Lee, could you no and this guy right out of the theater?
No, but him. No, but maybe stand-up. Maybe.
And no one's kicked you out of stand-up yet?
Not yet. No.
Not yet.
No.
Until we why don't you do Kill Tony? And then maybe Tony Hinchcliffe will kick you out of stand-up.
It could. Or it could be that I've seen him go both ways on that. Sometimes he like loves... He normally loves like foreigners, you know? It's like, that's pretty fun. I can't, you know, because he can't relate to that. Like, he can't be an Irish comedian. So they're cool.
Can you be an Irish comedian?
I cannot.
Okay. Question number 2.
Okay.
Most memorable experience you've ever had at the Comedy Store? Could be recent.
Well, I have a few. One is not a good one.
Okay, that's
One
fine.
is like, so when I first started doing stand-up...
I kind of figured it wouldn't be for some reason.
First is negative.
Mine's
and
not.
then positive.
yeah.
The first one was... So I started when I was like 16 because I didn't keep going. That's when I started. And like, because I just was like, if I'm young, it didn't matter on like the craftsmanship of it. But if I was young and I did it, then it would work out.
Sure.
Because I'm the young...
Because you could always get better.
yeah, exactly. Even if I was more afraid of like doing the show and not the material.
Yeah.
So I did a show in the main room, and it was a bringer show, and I didn't know anyone, like, because I was 16, so I didn't have any 21-year-old friends who wanted to come see me, so it was just my dad, who, if you know me, he doesn't think I'm funny.
Perfect,
and
to be in the audience for a comedy show.
Yeah, and my uncle, who I've never seen laugh, really, you know.
The one that I met?
Yeah, he's super nice, but I mean, he's just kind of like, hey, you know, like,
sure,
yeah. And then I think they brought like my dad brought a friend of his that works in his real estate office that doesn't even know, you know, like just like a guy, you know, and it wasn't very.
Jake has nothing to do tonight,
and it wasn't very.
Jake's going through a divorce.
Yeah. Well, Wayne decided he was going to show up.
He heard us talking.
He lives pretty close, so yeah. And so I go up there. There's not many people in the main room because it was a bringer show. Everyone was doing bad, but because I only brought 3, they made me go up like last. So it's like 12:30 in the morning. Everyone's so tired.
Yeah.
It's a weekday. And I didn't even have jokes. I just had premises, you know? So I would just be like,
who's this, Martin Harris?
Yeah, exactly. No, it was Vargas.
Vargas.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I was like, oh yeah, man, if I ever got a tattoo, I'd get a tattoo of a mustache on my finger, cause like that'd be good. and then if I
is your opener or what?
Yeah. And I'm like, and if I ever lost part of my finger, then it's like a Hitler mustache.
Right, guys?
Just like, so like I couldn't not be okay in silence, so I would just start like laughing, but it was one of those like like a breakdown.
This is what you guys do.
Like a car running out of gas, just like. And so and then I finally get off, and my dad wouldn't really look at, you know, because he sees too much of himself.
Secondhand embarrassment.
And so he was like, well, you know, when you go out there, people like you. But then when you start talking, and it was just too much. So that was my first, like, this is hard.
Does he know that you're better now?
Yeah, he keeps asking to come, but it's more of me like, if you want to.
Yeah,
but then,
like you had your chance.
But the best part
was look at me
no,
afterwards.
I'm like, yeah, come. I don't care anymore. But then he's like, so the first one is, can we come? Yeah, come, no worries. And then he's like, well, if you could just have a show that's not so late on a Monday or a Tuesday. I'm like, well, I'm not going to cater to you. If you want to come, come. If not, then...
I got one at noon on a Sunday, Dad.
Yeah, well, that's our hike time. You could do 8:30 right by the house.
Do you perform at Runyon?
Yeah. And then I had recently a good one. I was hanging out at the Comedy Store. There's like this hallway where all of us losers hang out, you know?
Hell yeah,
We're like, yeah, what's up? We're the next group, you know? Just ready.
Yeah.
And
ready in case an open mic breaks out.
Yeah. And a lot of people are actually, well, you know, some of the guys are jerks and some of them are nice, the big comics.
Yeah.
Well, Dave Chappelle happened to show up one day, and you never know how that's going to go. And he, like, walked past all the other big comics right to where all of us were hanging out. And he's like, what's up, nerds? And we're like, yeah, what's up, man?
Hell yeah.
And he just, like, smoked a whole cigarette. And he's like, what are we getting into? And, like, just talked to us. For his whole cigarette, so like 30 seconds, because he could just pound it down. No.
He has great lungs.
No, yeah, but then he just went. But I remember being like, he didn't have to do that. No one asked him to do that, and he went out of his way, like walked by big comics to talk to the new ones, and I was like, that was really cool.
That's cool, man. Because he kind of he seems like he could definitely not spend time with you if he didn't feel like it.
Yeah, I guess it was whatever mood he's in, because I've seen him in other times not do that, but it was just one of the, like, it was a cool thing to experience, because there's even people I know, one of them you mentioned earlier, that I've met 100 times, and still every time I meet him, he's like, oh, okay, nice to meet you. I'm like, we've been on shows together. Like, if I know you, you definitely know me.
Right. I mean, Dave Chappelle, I've never met him, but he seems like one of those people who would know how much that would mean to a comedian in our position.
Yeah.
If he just hung out for a little while.
Yeah. And
it's like they're going to talk about this on podcasts forever.
And and they are. Keeping his brand alive.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Thank you.
Along the same lines, most memorable experience at the Improv or Brea Improv.
Just those two. Not the other ones. I mean, for me, it would be like being able to host your own show and then having that sell out, like where they're turning people away and you don't know why or how that happened.
Yeah.
And you're just kind of like, holy crap, it's all there for me. And then it's such a good show. And afterwards, everyone you're like, one of my big things that have held me back is fear of failure, which I know is like everyone has that, but I try and force myself, even though I have it real bad, is to like break those. And so the biggest fear would be to have my own show with my name on the marquee and everything, and then no one there, like that.
But I mean, if you get a picture of the marquee,
that's fine. Yeah, then you're good again.
Yeah, but breaking even.
Yeah, but I mean that's just been awesome when like now it's getting bigger and like bigger comics are showing up. I'm getting better, you're getting better, and it's finally like working. And so that's just being able to walk in there and feel like cheers is kind of like when it's like Delman, you're like, that's a nice feeling. And then my other best memory is when they let me from my show, they let me do both main room shows on a Saturday, and that was like Kevin Nealon and me and like Eleanor Kerrigan and Mark Curry, aka Mr. Cooper. Like it was just awesome. And so that's a cool place, man.
Yeah. And there we should mention that Delman has a monthly show called Definitely Not Star Search in the Lab.
Yes, it's on normally the first Monday of the month normally.
So if you're in the area, and I know by our analytics that you are in the area, a lot of you have come out as well.
Because Mike has been on almost all the shows. So come out, support Mike, support me.
And I talk about it on this podcast constantly.
Nice.
Taking maybe a giant step backwards.
Okay.
Most memorable experience at the Formosa Cafe. I think I know which one you're going to say.
Well, I don't even know. What do you think I'm going to say?
Just think about good memories from the Formosa, which was apparently, it's on Sunset?
Santa Monica.
In Formosa in West Hollywood.
Yeah.
And apparently their whole claim to fame was they're like an Asian fusion restaurant that had this outdoor patio that me and Delman did stand up on weekly for like 3 years.
But it was like a cage. It was
yeah.
It was like
you felt trapped.
Yeah.
Not a comfortable place, but it was one of at least my favorite places in the world. And their big claim to fame was that Elvis hung out there like 3 times.
Yeah. I would do that show again if they were able 100%. To get that back.
But it like closed down and I heard somebody else it's like all boarded up.
Yeah, they closed it down because apparently the guy who bought it was just like walking to the Bevmo right next to them and buying the alcohol they served there from the Bevmo.
We'd have Dubra tonight.
And just wasn't good at business, and they were losing like $100,000 a month.
That's crazy, man.
But it's a historic
even with all those
landmark.
bringer shows?
We weren't buying anything. TK was keeping that money.
That's true. I don't think I ever drank there. But
what do you think my biggest memory?
Remember that guy who came up to us one night?
The leather man?
Yeah. Talk about that guy.
Oh yeah.
What do you remember?
He was in like a leather suit, and not like a full like a blazer with like slacks, but it was all leather.
Picture like Tommy Lee at the drummer for Poison.
Yeah.
At the MTV Video Music Awards.
He was dolled up, you know, and he had these like blue faded sunglasses, and what was his name? Like Tommy Lee. It was something crazy like Tommy Storm or something stupid. Sure. And I guess he was like one of the piano players for some band I had like kind of heard of, like but not really. But he just kept saying how funny he was and how he should go up, and I mean,
there's always one.
Yeah. Well, there or people that. I literally saw a guy ride a bike by there, go, oh, is this a comedy show? And then the booker goes, yeah. And he goes, I'm a comedian. And he just gives him my card. He gives him the card and he goes, all right, you want to be on the next show? And I was like, that's how this works? Like,
yeah. We felt so excited to have a show, and now you're just giving it to any motherfucker on a bike.
But I will give him credit. Like, TJ Miller was talking in an interview and gave TK credit for, like, giving him his first spot.
As he should.
LA.
Dude, TK was the first person who ever headlined me in Los Angeles.
Yeah. He's also the first to headline me, too, but he didn't book me as a headliner. He's like, headliner didn't show, Dale.
You're last.
15 minutes.
It's your big night.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Dude, and when those shows are packed, they're fucking awesome.
No, they really are.
Even when they're not, it's probably the most educational. It's probably the way we've got better the quickest.
Yeah.
Because, like, trying jokes to 4 people over and over
Well, that's
again.
what I was telling someone recently. Someone who just started, and bless his heart, but he's doing those bringers, and he's like, bro, I'm killing it. Like, my first 6 shows have been crazy.
About 40 friends and family members.
Yeah, he's like, all my friends showed up, and it was, like, amazing, and, like, you know, now I'm like, should I do new material? This stuff's working so good. And I've known him for a while, so I didn't want to be like, fuck you. Like, because you know what high he's on.
And even if you tell them how it really is, they're not going to know until they
But I just kind of said, like, that's a great feeling, keep that with you. But I was like, try and focus on the material. And also I said, you'll start to learn that it's really easy to do well for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I go, and it's much harder to do well for a little amount of people.
But it's still very possible.
No, it's very possible.
Yeah.
I mean, that show that I did the other night with you, I went up at midnight. There was like 5 people, and I felt like I was crushing.
Yeah.
You know? And so it's like, but when you can get to that point, that feels good.
Dude, I always talk about when I saw Elliot. He was on a show at Flappers.
I was there with you.
Oh, yeah.
And
Bill Burr came in.
Everyone was bombing.
Yeah.
Because there was only like 9 people and some chick that brought like her brother and her dad from out of town. You know? And then Bill Burr does a drop-in.
Yeah.
And just murders it for like... And I've seen that too. I was at the lab at the Hollywood Improv. It was a Thursday. There was like 5 people in the audience. And a lot of big comics would show up and either leave because they didn't want to deal with it, or they would just be like, fuck this shit. He showed up and performed for like an amphitheater, even though there was 5 people, and it was brilliant. And that's why I was like, he's real deal, because I've seen him do that a few times now. And it's just amazing.
There's a very... the comics that do that are very admirable. That's the most inspiring thing when somebody that you really, because they could very easily, like, they don't have to do that.
Yeah, no, we have a friend. He's so freaking funny. But remember, he did your show once, and he's like, all right, not many people here, so going into autopilot, blah, 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 blah. Like, he said what he was going to do, and then he just went into autopilot, and his joke still hit, but you could just see he was already watching Netflix.
I'm already 3 episodes into Ozark. Good. Teamwork. Question number, the one after the last one. Why doesn't your hipster van run?
Right now?
Yeah.
Currently? I had the header rebuilt, the head gasket and all that rebuilt on the engine, and it was like running perfect.
And tell him what it is, because I'm not.
Okay, it's a 1982 diesel-powered VW Vanagon Westphalia with the Country Homes camper pop top.
It's very cool. It looks like you could push it over if you needed to.
Yeah, like a cow.
When it's sleeping.
Yeah. No, it's awesome, but... You know, with a vehicle that's older than I am, you know, there's going to be problems. And so...
Think of how many problems there are just with you.
With me.
And then make you into a van.
It's like, oh, man. And so, I had that rebuilt. And so what that does, and not to get too nerdy, but like in a diesel engine, you need a lot of pressure to make the combustion happen. And I had a lot of kind of leaking, which is why I was going really slow. Like, they're slow, but I was going like 30 miles an hour.
All the time. Top speed.
Yeah. So I had it rebuilt. Well, that brought all the pressure back. But then the pipes that I didn't have looked at, they're like, bro, we can't handle that pressure. We got this little... So that one of the pipes just burst. But that's not that expensive. It's just... The problem was I was 100 miles away.
Yeah.
And I thought I had updated my AAA. And... I'm mad at AAA right now because
shit.
Well, like I was like,
Hot 97. Tell them why you're mad.
I was like, I'm on the side of the road, and it's like terrifying. I went into the West Hollywood office, which I did, and I was like, I bought this crazy van. I need the 100-mile tow. Some crazy guy's like, yeah, and I was like, and I need my wife on my account. What he did was give me a classic account and then give Lee her own account. So we're not even on the same account.
Sure.
And so together we have 14 miles. I'm like, no, I need 100
14 miles?
Well, I get 7 and she gets 7 because we're not even on the same thing. The guy didn't, so
you're on the family plan, the singular family plan.
Yeah, so they wouldn't help us. Like AAA they were like, we can tow you 7 miles. I'm like, I don't even know where I am.
We could tow you further into the wilderness.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I don't need to. I need to go 100 miles. I don't need to go 7.
How would you call us 27 times?
Yeah, and so I called and complained. I asked for like a manager. I made it all the way up the ladder, and they were all just like, well, we can't help you. And I was like, fine. So long story short, my van's in the middle of nowhere until Monday when my member, because
it's still there.
It takes 7 days. They're like, they won't
to a place, or
no, it
just
takes 7
different
days for your membership to upgrade. And I'm like, what do you mean it takes 7 days? You can just press a button.
Like, do you have a computer?
Yeah, they're like, it takes 7 days.
Are you passing a whiteboard?
I know AAA is over 100, but like maybe you could update your system.
Yeah.
But so it's sitting in Thousand Oaks in a parking lot.
That brings us to our first sponsor, AAA. You got a special code. Type in Banter to get 100 free miles that you have to share between your entire
but seriously,
family.
Call them and tell them that they promised a sponsor. Really give them hell.
Yeah, go ahead. What's more fun to make, bread or farts?
I mean,
be honest.
I think bread.
You think bread?
Farts are easier.
Well, there's no question.
But
everyone can make farts. Not everybody can make bread.
But a fart is...
What's more satisfying? When you really need to make bread.
Well, bread is technically just a bunch of farts.
Yeah,
that's what it is. Yeah, so that's just farting a lot.
Sure.
It's eating and farting and then expanding this like balloon of farts.
Oh, this is... I never even thought about it that way.
Yeah, they're just eating... and then the sugars, and then they're farting out, and then that's why the gluten holds it together, and that's why it gets big. They're just farting a bunch.
So when you're allergic to gluten...
Yeah, well, you're allergic to the outside. The farts are alright.
The farts are okay?
Yeah, technically. Yeah.
Okay, so when you're eating bread, you're just eating hard farts.
Oh, yeah, and same with beer. That's the alcohol before the carbonation.
Eating hard farts is like... what I would tell someone to do in 7th grade.
Yeah, dude.
Go eat a hard fart, Tiffany D'Souza.
Hard fart.
Hard farts are my favorite animal in the wilderness.
Cake farts. Did you ever watch that video?
Cake farts?
You never watched that? As a kid, when you're like trying to like watch like the worst things possible.
Oh, is that HBO?
No, it was like a porn video, but it's just someone farting on a cake. And then we're just like, she's farting on a cake. And then like a week later, she came out with like, she would just fart on many things.
Are we talking like Cake Wars cake or like Stop and Shop?
Just like Costco cake.
Okay, sure.
Just like sheet cake.
No letters on it?
No, just farting on a cake. She's going to fart on a ham next week.
Join us. You're not going to want to miss a moment. When did people first start doing impressions of you and your voice?
I guess
we do it all the time, but...
Yeah, I don't know. I guess when I started hanging out with like talented performers, like
people
were too afraid to try and accomplish it. No, sure. I don't know. No one ever really made fun of my voice. They would always say you have a distinct voice, but they would never try and duplicate it.
Yeah, they would never make me feel bad about it.
But what makes me mad about the impression is that my dad speaks similar, and my impression of him is everyone's impression of me. And I'm like, no, that's my impression to make fun of him. Because I'm always like, well, this and that, and then everyone does that. I'm like, no, that's me making fun of my dad.
It's like a slightly deeper register of your impression of your dad.
Everyone loves a good deal. And everyone's like, well, I'm like, no, I'm just sadder. I'm like the Eeyore version of my dad. Like, no, thank you.
You're the stoned version of your dad.
Yeah, so I'm my dad 15 years ago.
Yeah.
40 years ago.
That's great. That's where you're headed, man. Isn't that where we're all headed? Ian, are you like your parents at all?
Yeah.
Is that what your dad sounds like?
I look like my dad, and it's kind of scary.
Who do you sound like?
I don't know.
All right.
I
Can we call your parents right now?
We don't really talk.
Okay.
Oh.
Can we email your parents?
There's a picture I posted on Father's Day one year of my dad at 26 and
I
me.
saw this.
It's creepy.
Yeah.
We look the same.
He had great hair.
Yeah.
Not unlike yourself.
Well, now he doesn't. But everyone always is like, it's the mother's side. It's the mother. I'm like, okay.
What, the hair loss thing?
Yeah. So
that's what I
hopefully I can still keep it. But everyone on his side of the family is bald, so that is scary.
Where is your hair the most comfortable? This isn't on the list.
What does
this
that
doesn't
mean?
count towards
Like
the...
in what weather? Or like in what?
What length, I mean.
Oh. I like it like this.
Yeah.
I normally measure it. I'll pull the curl down. If it passes my nose, it's too long.
Okay.
That's my thing. But my problem is like, I don't know. You might have reached a certain length, but if I have it like this and if I have to run out of the house and I don't have time to shower or something, like I'll still look like a person.
Yeah,
Like if you
yeah.
have it any longer, they're like, what the fuck happened? It's
I'm
too
that
much.
length where if I don't do anything to it and I just let it dry, I look like a dirty bell.
A dirty bell?
Yeah, like the Liberty Bell.
Nice.
It's bad.
Nice. That's like how I used to look in high school because for some reason
Yeah, well,
I'd grow the
no
hat,
guy knows how to
but
take
I would
care
wear
of
I
himself.
would wear the hat all the time.
Yeah.
And then I would take the hat off and it would be this perfect like
It's perfectly straight
flip
up
out.
top.
Yeah, like a Jeremiah Watkins sort of like
Like you're wearing an old army helmet.
Yeah.
Honesty time. What do you like the least about me?
Honestly?
Yeah.
It's one thing about both. It's our relation. Like, okay, so I always get nervous, and I don't know if it's like dealing with my parents or whatever about letting people down. And so that sometimes causes me to like not straight out say something, like try and like pussyfoot around something. You know, like, well, you know, I might. Would you be mad if I couldn't do your show? Like something like that, and you're like, "What are you trying to say?"
Yeah.
And I just want you to be like, "No, it's cool, man." But you're like, what are you trying to say?" And I'm like, let's just say hypothetically, and you're like, "What the fuck are you getting at?"
Yeah.
And in the beginning of our friendship, I would go on forever, and then I'd finally be like, "Can't do it."
You learned how to deal with me.
And then you were just like, kind of mad for like a few minutes, and then I felt really bad, and I was like, oh, I don't want to let my friends down, and then I text Elliot, I'm like, is he really mad or whatever, you know, like, just all this shit. But now it's like, the other day I knew like a week and a half advance, and I was like, can't do it, and you're like, cool, and I was like, okay, you just have to say,
man. First of all, you've never let me down.
No, I know. But
Second of all, like, dude, we're from such... We were brought
I've
up
been to
very
Connecticut.
differently.
I see.
We're very
I see
different.
it, yeah.
Your friends were different growing up. My friends were
Yeah.
different growing up. And I think eventually you just learn... Like, you could be friends early on.
Yeah.
But the true mark of a friendship is learning how to deal with everyone at their different stages or whatever.
I think
and, like,
that's it,
with me, with stuff like that, like, even if it's an uncomfortable... like confrontational thing, you're just honest and direct first.
Yeah.
I'm like, I might not be happy right now, but this is going to be over sooner than it would be because all the honesty is on the table first.
Yeah, we're in Upland. It's all about drama. That's where I'm from. Like my parents have more drama than anyone I know, and I'm like, you
told me the best story. I don't know if you want to go into this at all. I want to say the post office thing.
Oh yeah,
mailing
my dad and his neighbor.
Dude,
yeah, that shit is so stupid. Like, long story short, my dad sells houses, and my neighbor growing up, he used to clean carpets in houses. So my dad would like hook him up with all those, all the new houses he was selling. That guy would clean the carpets, and he helped build that guy's business up for him. And one day that guy came over to clean our carpets, but it was a new guy and he didn't know the deal. And that guy used to just clean my parents' carpets for free or give him a deal or something.
Yeah.
And my dad was like, well,
he dropped the bill.
He drops the bill, and my dad's like, actually, we get a deal or something. And the guy's like, I don't know, I just started working here. And then he's like, well, you know, I helped. The guy's like, I don't know, just pay it and then deal with it. So then my dad like wouldn't pay it, like out of like, I'm not paying, like, and so
out of
then
principle.
Then calls them and they're like, bro, like, yeah, I get it, but for like 25 years now we've been cleaning. Like, you can pay one. Like, he didn't know he's a new guy, and so my dad like makes a huff about it and then writes a check, puts it, and like sends it to him, and then they don't cash it for most people, you'd be like, all right, whatever, moving on. That pissed him off. So for like days, my dad would write a new check and they just rip it up, or then he would bring the ripped up check over to and then they just created this beef.
Yeah, ripping it up and blowing it.
Yeah, just over that. And then literally I go back and I was like, when was the last time you talked to the neighbors? And my dad's like, it's been years. I'm like, years over him trying to give you a free carpet cleaning?
You're goddamn right. Who do you think would win in a fight between Elliot and Steve? And do you think you could picture that without laughing? Elliot Morgan, Steve Zaragoza.
I could not picture it without laughing.
Okay.
And it would honestly have to depend on how mad Steve was.
Yeah.
Because I think Steve would win. Just based on sheer...
Brought up a lot of rage, maybe?
Yeah, because he is a happy boy for the most part. But, like, I just see... I don't know. I just don't see Elliot as a fighter at all.
Yeah.
Like,
in any
situation. Like, even if he got really mad... I would see him in the fight or flight scenario. I would see him flying away. Like,
sure.
And I mean, and a prime example is he has a story of when he was dressed up as Big Bird and he was running like a little baby down.
He was sprinting, and he had all that extra.
Yeah.
To stop him from getting stabbed.
But I mean, and Steve, I don't know. I feel like there's like a dark, mysterious possible. He could just be a fighter if he wanted to. But it would be hilarious. And I don't think they could do it. It would have to be like...
I don't think it would ever happen.
Yeah.
But I do like to picture it just because... Even just if you close your eyes, the sounds would be made during that confrontation are very good.
There'd be a few farts too.
I think people would fart. Fear farts.
Yeah. I've never been in a fight though, so I'm not a good judge.
Ever?
I've never thrown a punch and I've never gotten.
See, that's the thing. It's like you want to get punched in the face at a lesser age. You want to do it like middle school, high school. So you're like, I kind of remember that. I
didn't ever want it, but then there was like a moment in my life where. In college, where I was like, I kind of want to get in a fight just so I can say I got in a fight. But my problem was, it's like, I was the funny guy, and luckily, I was always surrounded by big dudes. Yeah. And so I remember I was in Vegas once, and I was like mouthing off to someone, and then literally the minute they were going to come fight me, Joe, my huge friend, was next to me, and then they just ran off, and I'm like, damn it, Joe.
That was mine.
Joe, you throw the punch, I'll hop in.
You throw the first one.
We would have won. It would have been great.
It was one guy. There's 6 of us.
Yeah. But no fights.
Dude, speaking of fighting in college, there was this dude. We had the scummy room a freshman year, but we had the biggest room. Scummy. Oh. It was the scummiest place. There were 3 of us. We were in a forced triple. And it was filthy. We had a pile of garbage instead of a garbage can. We just had a pile of garbage that we would sweep out of the door every once in a while. And there was this dude who didn't finish freshman year who came into I think his name was Colin. He came into our room. He thought we were all sleeping, and he went into our fridge and he grabbed our beer. And he drank it.
Have beer and
not allowed.
Oh, okay,
no, we were freshmen. We were like 18 years old. And so he walked out to the patio where everybody smokes, not unlike the Comedy Store. Yeah. And just as desperate.
That's what
people.
patios are for.
Yeah. And he was just drinking the beer out there. And then I walked out in my socks, and I was like, "Hey, man, did you just come into our room and steal that beer?" Because I watched him do it because I was not asleep. And he was like, "No, it was a waste." He was like, "No." Nah. I was like, I'm going to give you one chance to admit what I just watched you do.
On, Colin.
And he called you piece of shit. Your mom works here. That's why you're here. And he goes, nah, this is mine. And I hauled off and I just hit him in the face. Nice. And I was like, enjoy the rest of the beer. Oh. And then I went to bed and I slept so soundly. I slept through German class after that.
You took German class?
I took German for 2 years because I didn't want to take Spanish again.
Guten Tag.
Thank you. That means where's the train? Are you familiar with Squarespace?
I am very familiar with Squarespace. And
How familiar?
I actually just designed a website for an architect using Squarespace.
You think you're better than me?
Yes.
Okay, squarespace.com/banter. Go there for your free trial, and when you're ready to launch, use the code BANTER, that's 2 banters, to save 10% off your first purchase or domain. Delman, I'm sure you can attest, you could turn your cool idea into a website. You turn that guy's buildings into a website.
Well, like, I will say, I was anti-Squarespace for a minute because I lost some clients from them because it is so easy to use.
Hell yeah.
And then the other thing that's cool about it, because I switched over and I use it now, is it's super protected, so no one's going to hack you.
Yeah.
And then it's really easy to use. The templates work on all screen sizes, like phones and everything. So you can have a pro website for pretty cheap and you can do it yourself.
Yeah, man. Most importantly, it looks like you didn't make it.
Yeah.
Which is really the only...
But the cool thing about it is if you do have like... Because what I used to get afraid of using like template sites is like, what if I want to customize it?
Yeah.
Well, they still have the code structure, so you can still customize
You can
it.
say, and they're award-winning templates.
It's super, and their customer service is legit. No more
It's
GoDaddy. You
24/7.
don't need that anymore.
Dude, Christmas morning.
Yeah.
You're like,
Hey,
oh, my
wife bought me a
e-commerce-
website for Christmas.
My wife bought something off my website, and there's a problem with the transaction. Let me tell you what you can do. You can showcase your work. You can publish a blog if you want. You sell products with e-commerce. Promote a physical or online business. Which one of those do you have, Andrew?
I have
You have a brick and mortar business?
I do not, but my clients do.
Well, you could promote your clients' businesses on your website. Squarespace does these things by giving you beautiful templates by world-class designers, powerful e-commerce functionality, the ability to customize the look and feel and the settings of the products with just a few clicks, everything you want. Optimized for mobile, which is my favorite. If you go to mikefalzone.com, which has always been a Squarespace website, as I've said every day for the past 4 years, you go to that shit on your phone. It looks real nice. We're talking over 200 extensions, new way to buy domains, and analytics, built-in search engine optimization.
Yeah, and it's actually really good. Their SEO
pop up
really
on
good.
Google.
Yeah, it just they know how to play the rules right, and it pops up. You get good placement, and if you try and set up an e-commerce site on your own, there are so many hoops you have to do. Yeah, you have to buy the security and all that. This just comes with it. So
Dude, accept credit card payments, do all your shit. Make it. We encourage you to make it. Make it yourself. An easily created website all by yourself, alone in your room. Might seem sad, but at the end of that long night, definitely not a day, long night, you smell like coffee and you're drinking the cold kind. At the end of in the morning times, you have a new website.
Is that what they think? Is that where they named
This is all I'm just reading this.
They're like, I've been stuck in a room, a Squarespace.
I've been stuck in a Squarespace. So if you're ready to start your business, make it and stand out and get started with Squarespace. And thank you so much for sponsoring this episode.
Wish they sponsored me.
Well,
just in everyday life.
I'll call their 24/7.
I would get a tat on my arm, and I would be
Square
my
Life.
life would be sponsored by Squarespace.
Yeah, very
Square
good.
Life.
I want to tell you about something else, and this is getting a little personal.
Yeah,
so you
no,
tell
go
me
for
if
it.
you're uncomfortable.
Hey, I'm not uncomfortable. I just hope that your fans, they were expecting me to bring my comic genius, and now it's turned into a 2020 interview, but I'm down.
That's true. Yeah. I was expecting it to be funnier, but these questions are designed to have the most interesting podcast.
Yeah, no, I'm in.
I didn't know how funny it was. I was hoping the chimes could do a lot of the work.
Yeah. We've had laughs.
I always thought that MeUndies was really cool. Was a really cool underwear brand and fun. They have
They're
crazy
really
prints.
though.
But it wasn't until I actually tried them
Dams.
that I realized, holy crap,
They're insane.
they're seriously the most comfortable things I've ever worn.
They really are.
And there's one word that I'm looking for in particular. Here we are. They use micromodal fabric. Do you know about the micromodal fabric?
I mean, I have a set that Lee brought home, and they're amazing, but I don't know what that magic fabric is.
Well, sit right there and I'll tell you about it. It's a full 3 times softer, and this is from a scientist.
Okay.
Softer than regular cotton. Okay, I couldn't believe how soft these things were. And the fabric, it's the fabric that you're going to want down there. And I think you know what I'm talking about when you say that on your privates.
Oh, yeah.
In and around your butthole, you're going to want something real soft.
Real soft.
Now, they release multiple fun prints every month, including matching socks and bralettes, if you want to match your lady friend. We're actually waiting for... they give you like a survey. They're like, what do you want us to send you? Are you more of a basic? Do you just like gray things? And I was like, send me the craziest shit you got.
I got some crazy like pink and gray
A word?
triangle ones. They're pretty cool.
Does Lee have a favorite
What does that mean?
of underwear that you wear? She's like, ooh, you're
probably
wearing the
those
pink and gray.
ones.
When I hear
Yeah.
pink and gray, I think of Uncle Jesse's room and Full House. The bunnies on the wall.
If those were underwear.
Yeah.
It's actually just Uncle Jesse's room. Honestly.
That's what they're called. On the tag, it says Uncle Jesse's room. I keep my balls in Uncle Jesse's room. MeUndies just launched a brand new membership, and you could level up your top drawer with new undies each month. And we know how you tear through them because you got those powerful farts. Especially if you're listening to this podcast, we know you got some power behind your inside air.
Don't let yourself hit sock bottom. Get this membership.
Dude, if that's not... That's
mine.
That's terrific. They're going to buy that.
One pair of underwear for that.
I'll give you a pair of mine. We could switch on and off, and then we'll wash them when they get too smelly. Members gain access to exclusive prints that no one else can get, and they get a special member pricing on MeUndies. And you could switch up the styles or skip any month you want. If you end up getting too many underpants, you could take a break for a little while. MeUndies has a great offer for listeners of this podcast. What is happening, man? Prancast. It's all about urchins. For first-time purchasers. It sounds like a terrible puppet. When you purchase any MeUndies, you get 15% off and free shipping. This is a no-brainer. Andrew Delman, 15%, zero monkey brains, unless that's the crazy print that month. Get 15% off the pair of the most comfortable underears you've ever bought in your entire life. And here's the call to action. You get 15% off your first pair. You get free shipping and 100% satisfaction guarantee. Go to MeUndies.com/banter. That's MeUndies.com/banter. Thank you for the sponsorship. Andrew?
Yes.
Please answer as honestly as possible.
Man, that was like Andrew. Like, I thought you were it's getting serious.
Have you decided whether you're going to be Andrew Delman or just Delman? I'm a big fan of just Delman. Because Bronger is Bronger.
Well, he's Matt Bronger.
Yeah, but when he's on the lineup, he's Bronger.
Yeah, I think Delman's it. That makes the most sense.
Delman's definitely not sausage.
I know. No, I mean,
Delman's
everyone calls me that.
Campaign.
My wife calls me that. Her parents call me that. I identify as that. But it's like, I don't know. There's like this weird. My parents are just sad every time.
But 2018, if you identify as that, people have to call you that, or else they're pieces of shit.
You're right. I'm Delman from here on out. I'm coming out as Delman.
Let's rearrange these letters so they say Delman.
Yes.
We see a lot of stand-up shows.
Yes.
Who are you rooting against?
What does that mean? Like, who do I not want to win?
You walk into the club and you see somebody at the mic and you're like,
You know, I'm not gonna lie here. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it.
Please say full names.
Yeah, no, I probably will stay away from names just because it's smarter. But there's a lot of people that I don't like. A lot of people, and I
that's normal.
And
that's
I
a normal
used to think it was
thing.
like, well, I used to be really mad, but that was because I was too afraid to go up there and struggle and do it.
It's half jealousy, half if that person's doing it.
And some of our close friends have that, and that's because like if it's something you want to do. And you see someone doing it not very good, but they get a good opportunity, you get you think I don't
get mad that person has more balls than you.
Or that they get opportunities that you don't deserve because you're not working and they are. Like, you're not out there. Right. Like, for me, I'm like, how did he get this? I deserve this.
Right,
Why do you deserve that?
But they've been to every open mic for the past.
And so when you actually start to do it, I feel like you become a little easier on them because you're like, oh, I can at least see that they're trying to write a joke, like what they're trying to do. And then you're like, and it is scary and it's hard. But I think anyone who is super cocky and if that's their bit, that's okay. But anyone who, like, once they're off the stage is mean for no reason and they're not good, I think that, to me, it's just kind of like, I don't want you to do well. Like because I get a lot of, we're all out there. There's a lot of people who are really established who are super nice. And then there's a lot of people that are not very funny, but very nice. Yeah. And I would root for the not very funny person who's very nice more than, like, the jerk who's not funny.
The two things that I've noticed are people will this is everyone in every profession. If people have a reason to talk shit about you, they're going to do that first. Yeah. Anytime your name gets brought up, like, oh, I have the shit on that person. Yeah. And then they're going to say that. But then in comedy specifically, there are the people who everyone considers the nicest people. Like, think about the way people talk about Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone across the world. I was at some random audition, and there was a mutual friend there, and I was like, dude, Jesus is the best. And then the people running the camera at the audition and the producers of the show were like, he's the best person in Hollywood.
He really is. I mean, like, he did one of those things. I would say he gave me my first like break in the terms of like, okay, I can do this. You know, like we were on this really good show at Malo together. One of Eric Hahn, another sweet baby. We were on his show. Jesus went right after me, and it would just happen to be one of those good shows. Like, you know, when you're first starting out, you're kind of like a baby rattlesnake. Like, you're all over the map. Like, sometimes you're really mad. You know, and sometimes you're like,
I'm mad
really
tonight.
happy. And then
Tonight I'm going at the audience.
And then sometimes you're like, I'm gonna be a goofy boy tonight. and so so you're like all over. And so this was one of those nights where I was just feeling good. I was like trying new stuff. And it just went real well, you know, and all the audience were like my own age, which for some, I love that, you know?
Yeah. And
it just went great. And afterwards, Jesus came up to me and he was like, oh man, you were really funny. And I was like,
I had no idea.
Yeah. I was like, thanks, man. And then I saw him the next day and we just randomly hung out. And then like he hits me up. He's like, do you want to open for me at Levity? You know, like, yeah. And that was another one that was scary. He was like, do you want to feature for me? And I was like, yeah, man, love featuring. Didn't really know what that was.
Yeah, I love feature. You say feature too many times.
Yeah, featuring. Yeah, I'm all about featuring.
Feature. If you want me to feature, I can feature for you.
Look at the features in here. Yeah. But so I'm driving down there and I text him. I'm like, so how much time do you want me to do? Like 10?
Just a feature amount of time.
Yeah. He goes, yeah, normal feature amount. I was like, and so I'm like, how much is that? He's like, 20. I was like 20 minutes, and I hadn't been doing it that long.
Like, and I had to do all my jokes the whole time?
Yeah, and I did good. It went well. He never asked me back again, but no, I'm just kidding.
No, I mean, he gives a lot of people up.
No. It went well, but I see him all the time, and the cool thing about him, because I don't know if this is just an awkward person thing, which I do consider myself awkward, but if we're talking, and there's a person here, and you know that person and I don't, I think it's very awkward to be that person, but also it's really awkward if you don't introduce that person.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
And I fall into that sometimes because I'm like, oh, I'm only gonna talk to Mike for like 5 seconds and then we're gonna go. But that person for 5 seconds, that feels like 5 hours of horribleness. Well,
yeah, I have to smile and look back and forth.
But Jesus is so good at being like, no matter who it is, it could be Jeff Ross or anyone, he'll be like, this is Andrew Delman. He's a very funny comic. Yeah. And then the guy's like, oh, cool. And then go back to and then I'm like, I'm in the combo now. And it's so cool that he does that. And so I think he's
very thoughtful. Yeah. And he has a lot of empathy.
He does. And he's been through a lot, but it's just amazing. Like, I've met so many people through him and I always feel bad. Like, oh, he's going to think I'm using him. But every time I show up, the biggest smile, he's happy to see me, and he's gonna blow up. I want him to do well.
I've never wanted this is like the antithesis of the other question, which he would never answer in any way. Yeah. But he is you just want the best things for
check out Jesus Trejo.
Jesus Trejo.
He's very funny.
Should be your new favorite comedian.
Yeah.
Andrew, what's the douchiest haircut you've ever had in your life?
Oh man. Okay, so being from the 909, up in the Inland Empire, a lot of bleached hair, a lot of bleached tips, a lot of spiking, a lot of liquid ice, a lot of the hair gel. And
liquid ice is my favorite flavor of Gatorade.
Yes. And to be rebellious, like I wanted to do that. I wanted to bleach my hair and my parents wouldn't let me. And so I was like, whoa, if I get a 4.0, can I bleach my hair? Which is the least rebellious thing, Pop. Like, that's the I'll
show you.
Yeah, I'm really smart. I'm going to AP with my bleached tips. Just the tips. I bleached just the tips.
Yeah.
But that was like, or I had that like when I would wear the World Industries shirts. When I was into skateboarding, and I would spike the whole thing.
Yeah. You have a Thrasher hat or what?
No, I couldn't wear it, bro. I had the spikes.
On top of the spikes,
just sitting there. I used to like pop balloons on my hair, like
a bag that gets caught on a cactus out in the desert.
Yeah. Or one time I shaved all of this and then I kept this along, and it was like this. I don't know. I thought it was cool, but everyone.
I'm sure it was at the time.
My friends kept calling me a hipster, and it was weird.
Even back then.
Yeah, but
when it was cool.
Yeah, I was like, shouldn't that be a good thing? Like, no.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna move to.
I started hanging out with another curly-headed Jewish guy. I was like, all right, I'll grow back.
All right, fine. I'll fall back into place.
Yeah. You tell me.
Delman, what's the worst pet?
What's the worst pet to have?
Yep.
I've been really wanting. I mean, I'm not gonna get one, but I've been like following these foxes on Instagram.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I want a fox. Like, I gotta get a fox.
Foxes are
they're beautiful,
scary looking in real life.
Yeah,
in like the wild.
But after like researching it, the girl who runs Juniper Fox or whatever, who's the fox on Instagram I follow, she's very good at being like, these are actual wild animals, you know.
Yeah.
I'm like, but apparently people are buying a bunch of foxes thinking they can just raise them, and they're just getting torn up.
Man, people did that with raccoons.
Really?
Next thing you know, you got no garbage.
Yeah. he ate all my garbage.
This asshole ate all the garbage. What are the garbage men supposed to do?
Yeah, I don't know. I like pets. I don't have a problem with pets. Really.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would say it's birds. We did a whole episode about birds, and
I always
then
wanted a bird. I never got one, but
that's
I always
okay.
wanted one.
I mean, here's the thing. Here's the concession. It's like, I got a message after our episode about birds from this girl who was like, please don't talk shit about birds.
Yeah.
I love my bird,
Yeah.
and it brings me a lot of happiness.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's great. I hope your bird brings you happiness. I hope you die before your bird, and you're both very old when it happens.
See, luckily I was around animals a lot growing up. Have you ever had a bird land on your finger? There's
Never.
like no better feeling than that.
I think I'd flip out.
No,
I think I'd accidentally
You
Lenny
put
the
your
bird.
finger out, a bird just lands on it. You're like, yeah, a bird just landed on my finger, and you go like this.
You
The
have the
bird's on
Snow
your
White
shoulder
gene.
now. You just
Yeah.
walk around. You got a bird on your shoulder.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. You're a pirate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Captain Delman.
Yeah, is my macaw?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta give you an eye patch.
Or I want to have like a hawk. I'd like to have a hawk on my arm.
Wait, you have to always wear the
Yeah,
glove? So you're probably asking yourself about this glove. Okay, back to honesty time. What's the best set you've ever seen me do?
Ooh, I saw you do this set. I think I told you that I thought it was the best set. Where were we? I did
Formosa.
No, I did pretty good, and then you just like murdered it. Oh, it was recently.
Listen, if you don't give a date and a time, people are gonna think
No, it's
that
like
not
within
real.
a month. It was like a month. It was like a month ago.
Oh, the Yoo-hoo room.
Theo's. Oh no, yeah, Darren's show.
Yeah.
At the Yoo-hoo room. You did all this stuff about your retainer and stuff I had never heard before, and it was just dialed in. The audience was loving it, and I think we went back to back. So like, I feel like I set them up, and they were really good, and you just knocked it down.
100%.
And then I called you, and I was just like, that was. I mean, I've seen you do really good like long sets for friends in Connecticut and stuff, but this was like. We didn't know anyone, and they were just eating out of the palm of your
Can I tell you how revealing the answer to that question was?
What?
Because I was fully expecting like a sarcastic, snarky
You said
response.
real. You said real. If you were
I know,
like,
but I was trying to set you up.
I'd be like, you never done a good set in your life. No, but technically, I think you. I don't know. You tend to always do well, even if you bomb, because. You're very likable and you have fun up there, and I think, and you're confident. And I used to think, you know,
Would you call me a legend of stand-up comedy?
I'd say you're on the way to be.
Oh, fuck yeah, Delman.
Not yet. You're just a good old boy.
Would you have the balls for your friend?
Yeah.
And I know you like doing things for your friend.
Yeah.
Maybe take some paint to the comedy store.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
go around the back.
You would know. It would look like a child wrote it.
It's just all
I can't
capital
even
letters.
do cursive. It's just like crossed out.
Do you think maybe we can go to La Jolla?
Yeah.
And
That
get our
one's,
names?
that one's fun. We'll do it chalk.
Do they use the same artist for both places? They must.
It looks a little different, the typography. But, and I used to, like, theorize about my friends and, like, why they were good or why they were bad. Because, I have that problem.
The comparing problem?
Yeah, I do. And I remember being like, I think one of the reasons, because it took me a while to get comfortable in my voice, my writing was good and stuff, but it was still like, a lot of my friends like to, just like really crazy shit. And
Let me tell you what's weird about.
Isn't that nuts? And everyone's like, you're normally so chill. Like, everyone just kept being like, just be you up there. I'm like, I'm being me. Just really nervous.
Why'd you be me? Why'd you try being me?
And then now I've kind of found how to do it more, but I was always like, you would never even flinch in the silence, whereas like a lot of people would start making noises or like improvising, and I was like, I think Mike is so good because you did a lot of YouTube and you did a lot of looking down the camera.
It's mainly from music. It's more from music than.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure the YouTube.
Well, I was like,
something.
no one's in his room laughing at him, so he can say whatever weird thing he wants to say, and as long as he's having a good time, he's not nervous in the silence. And same with music.
Dude,
if they're laughing at your music concert, that's not good.
Yeah. That's why I had to quit.
Yeah.
What's the most you've ever been paid for the least amount of work?
Oh man,
You don't have to. You don't have to give me an exact
You won't
amount.
even be able to compete with me, bro.
Oh no, I'm not trying to compete. See, this is where we're different.
I was in an AT&T commercial.
Yeah,
And it was me, Randall Park.
you were dressed like Milana Weintraub.
This was before her.
Pre-Milana.
Pre-Milana.
Sure.
It was before they had a spokesperson.
Yeah.
So it was like this commercial where it's like a busy office. Randall Park is like, he's on fresh off the boat.
Yeah.
And some other stuff. And then James Urbaniak was in there. A bunch of people, Allison Becker, like a big star-studded cast.
Uh-huh.
I don't know how I booked it. The guy who directed it, he was one of the directors of The Office, and he was awesome. This is all I do in the commercial. But I feel bad because it used to be like, I'm at an office, a woman's talking really loud on her phone, and me and this black dude have this like high five series, and then I put my headphones on and just go back to my computer.
Okay.
That's it. So what happens is they ended up cutting the high five, and it just goes, she's really loud on her phone, and I just put my headphones on. I made 55 grand. I'm not even kidding you. And that was,
55 chimes.
I was in and out in an hour and a half, and then like the director was literally like, stay for sushi, and there was a guy just hand rolling sushi, and I was like, this is the life.
Oh, that's all. And that's how you're like, every job's gonna be like this.
Yeah, and they haven't. I mean, I've done a lot of jobs, but none has ever paid that much or worked that little of time. Like normally I'll be there all day, and it'll still be a good paycheck, but that was like, what is happening?
Dude, any commercial I've ever done, and they've only been like online commercials, where there's very few and far between where I don't feel like the shame is worth the...
What, a shame of a commercial?
I filmed this thing with Elliot, and I don't know if it was
Oh
ever
yeah,
out.
I saw that, yeah.
How did you see it?
Yeah, the vacuum thing or the like...
Kind of.
Yeah,
I don't want to say exactly what it was, because I don't want people to be able to look it up.
Elliot showed it to me or I looked it up or something.
Yeah.
But you had to write and star and film the commercial. I just...
Oh, we didn't write those things. I told the director that I was going to improv all my lines because I didn't like any of the lines. And I'm not getting paid enough to not say that.
In like a SAG commercial for TV, it's all pretty thought out. And most
very meticulous.
Or they'll be like, can you improvise this way? And yeah, there's been times where it's like really like, this is a lot of work because you don't ever want to fail, but sometimes you're not like giving them what they want, and they're not good at not like I had a director.
They're not good at not getting upset.
Yeah, I was doing it, and I had a director come up to me and just be like, "All right, let's just try it again," and walk away. And I'm like, "You just stood, prayer hands, and looked at me so frustrated for like a minute."
All I know is that you're very upset,
and then walked away. Yeah, and so. And
so you want me to do it the same?
You know, should I change it up? I'm a little afraid to change it up.
Should I cry during this one?
I had some weird experiences. Did I ever tell you about that time I was filming this Priceline.com commercial with Kaylee Cuoco from Big Bang Theory?
Oh, okay.
And I basically in the commercial I'm like this pool boy, and then I turn into Kaylee Cuoco.
Okay,
because that makes sense. Yeah, but. My Swedish cousin, it was his last night in town the night before we were filming the commercial. My call time wasn't until like 11, so I was like, we're good.
Yeah.
So he was like, let's go to Barney's. It's our last night in town. And he's trying to do shots. I'm like, bro, I got to work tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, we had some drinks, but I did not get drunk. You know, I was fine. And then I go home and I show up to set. Everything's good. And then the director comes up to me and he's like,
oh, no.
You all right, bro?
Oh, no.
And I'm like, yeah, I'm cool. Are you all right? And he goes, kind of smell like booze, dude.
Dude, that's the thing with me and you.
No, wait for it.
Yeah.
And I go, I don't know why. Like, and he's like, have you been drinking on my set? I'm like, it's 10 in the morning. No, I haven't been drinking. Like, just totally like, am I about to get fired from? Am I going to get blacklisted?
Yeah.
And he goes, so you weren't drinking? I'm like, not today. I had like a beer or so last night, but nothing crazy. He goes, this isn't you? And pulls out a picture on my phone, and it's me at Barney's with my Swedish cousin.
At 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, but at night holding like a shot up. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, how did you get this? And
was he there?
And then he starts cracking up. He's like, I was shit-faced in the corner with all the boys. He's like, I got you so good. And I was
like, that's great.
Yeah, so it worked out. And then at the end, he's like, was that too much? I'm like, no, I'm a comedian. I can handle it. But I was shook for sure for a minute.
So you wanted me to use fear in this Priceline commercial, right?
No, but it was really funny.
That's crazy, man. The thing I was going to say with me and you is like, if someone smells beer or weed on somebody who looks like me or you, there's no convincing them. Because we also have a weird like cadence or way about us. Like we don't talk. Is that what it is?
We got vibes. Yeah.
But it's like impossible to, if somebody wants to think me and you are stoned, even right now, there's no convincing them otherwise.
No, well, that was, in high school, I had this one teacher. He was nice, but he would like split everyone up. 1 week out of the year, he wouldn't teach Spanish, and he would like, we would just talk about real issues, which was kind of cool. But you would sit on this side of the room. Real
Spanish issues.
Yes. You would sit on this side of the room if you had done any drugs or like sex or anything, if you were experienced.
The drugs and sex were in the same group.
Yeah. Well, we were going to talk about it all.
Right.
But if you were really experienced, like you've done stuff more than like 10 times, you're in this group.
Yeah.
If you're in this group, that means you've maybe had some stuff or tried weed once, and this group was like all the Puritans, over here.
You ever slip out and he was like, if you're less experienced?
Yeah. So I sat in the middle, because I think I'd smoked weed once or twice, and he's like, Dale, come on, bro. Why don't you scoot over here? And I was like, no, seriously, I'm not. He's like, come on. Yeah. I was like, no, I'm like,
he starts pulling your desk over.
I really don't. I just seem like I.
Okay. Let's get started.
Yeah.
This one's from Zoya.
Zoya.
What's the first thing you think about when you wake up in the morning? Do you have a recurring thought?
My back hurts.
Do you have back problems?
I didn't think I did. Yeah. I have kyphosis, so yeah, I guess.
What does that mean?
It means that
shit out of alignment.
If you look at an X-ray from the front, my spine is straight. But if you look at me from the side, I kind of have like a little bit of a hunch, but not too bad. But I guess it's my vertebrae are different sizes, so I've been working on like doing these stretches.
The wall thing.
Yeah, the wall thing. And all that. And so that helps. But we just got a new mattress, one of those memory foam in a box mattresses. I won't say they might be a sponsor, but it doesn't. It's not my favorite yet, or I haven't adjusted to it.
Sure.
So either that, or just coffee or something. Or
that's the thing.
Yeah.
We had a funny conversation once where you were like, "I'm this tall because I'm a comedian, but if I was an accountant, I'd be at like 6'4".
Yeah.
Just because of the way you carry yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
I laughed a lot. Last night, I saw a guy who had a vape in a gun holster.
Nice.
And that's not a question.
It's pretty good. I mean,
it made me want to move home.
Yeah, I know. It's not good. What did it look like?
It was the shoulder gun holster, like the one Dick Tracy has,
but
the one detectives put on.
But like, how committed was it? Was he? Did he have like one vape, or did he have like one vape and like 80 cartridges, like where the bullets would be? Like, was he like in it?
It wasn't like cowboy.
Oh.
It was like legit, like sleuth. Yeah, like you put on your work shirt.
So wait, he pulls the vape out like inside. And okay. Yeah.
And with a t-shirt, man. And puka bead bracelet.
Okay, this guy's obviously very confused.
He looked like a professional poker player.
Or someone who wanted to be. Someone who had darts on them at all times.
He had a deck of cards. He has all the playing cards.
Oh, ping pong? He pulls like a paddle out.
You need a bocce ball? I got him in my car.
Yeah, that guy just seems like he needs a hug or something. Like, you shouldn't be too mad at him.
It made me very uncomfortable.
Where was he? Was he at a comedy show?
I don't want to. He might be listening. I don't want to tell him. No, he was at a comedy show for sure.
That makes sense. Was he performing?
Yes, he did not do well.
Okay, well that's why he needs his thing. He's like, I got the vape holster.
Yeah, you know what I've noticed, and you kind of touched on it. Does he have the glass
bead necklace too?
I know who you're talking about. It was not that guy. Okay, right. I've actually grown very fond of that young man.
All right, we'll get into it.
I feel for him.
Okay,
and I
feel for him too.
I like that he's still alive and doing things that aren't drugs.
Okay, that's good.
Fuck, I was going to say something else, but this brings us to the last... What the fuck was I just... Oh, you know what I've noticed about people who are bombing? Is something Chris D'Elia said recently in passing, where you really only bomb if the audience can tell that you really don't want to bomb. And I've seen a bunch of people eat shit recently.
If you don't want to
bomb. If the audience can... if the audience can tell that you're worried about bombing.
Oh, if you're worried. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, no one wants to bomb.
No. Well, sometimes, that was another, like, the magic of that Formosa place is that I would go up to TK before the shows, and I'd be like, how much time do I have? And he'd be like, 7 minutes. And then I would walk to you guys and be like, I have one joke tonight.
Yeah.
And we're going to see if we can make it last for 7 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like bombing on purpose in a safe space.
I used to love that. I'd be like, I'm sick of all my material. I'm doing 7 minutes of all new stuff.
Yeah.
And there's a weird spot with, I don't know if we just got confident or whatever with him, but it was like, that was a safe space to do
Yeah.
whatever you wanted.
We used to do that bookend thing
Yeah.
where you would know what you,
You would
want to
know
start
the
with
opener
and
and
with.
the closer.
Yeah, and then the
everything
middle was
else.
just whatever.
But that's the thing, like, when Whitney did my show recently, Whitney Cummings, and it was all stuff she was working on.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end, that girl was like, she was my favorite still. That's because Whitney has so much confidence.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Not all the jokes were working, but that was okay with her.
Doesn't matter.
And
you
the
can
fact,
just tell, dude. It's the way people carry themselves.
well, that's it. And it's like Andrew Santino, all those, they have so much confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happened to me when I started getting confident in what I was saying. Because it could just be a conversation then. If they're not laughing, now it's just an interesting conversation.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
they
yeah.
might be like, oh, okay. And then you move on to the jokes. Like, I used to be like, if they didn't laugh once, I'm like, fuck! You know, like,
Shit.
and just like...
Well, now they're going to remember that for.
Well, okay, then get out of here! If you don't get it, then go!
Why don't you just go home and watch The Office? That show's hilarious.
Yeah, that show's funny.
All right, man. That brings us to our very last question.
All right.
Very thought-provoking.
I'm very hungry. Is that the question?
Are you? How hungry are you?
Very hungry.
Okay. Extra. This is the bonus question. Who makes it first and how? Out of
Between
the
who?
following people.
Oh, yeah. Okay, good.
You, me, Elliot, Steve, Theo Manhattan.
But people don't know Theo.
Comedian
Manhattan.
Theo Manhattan. Pause this. Look up Theo Manhattan.
Okay, so what do I have? Like, what is... Does
Just tell me
everyone
who
have
makes
to make it?
If someone
It's
makes it
just
tomorrow.
Who makes it first, or in what order? or
Someone,
who
no,
makes it, who
one
doesn't?
person.
Okay.
We'll assume that everyone makes it if we want to
Okay,
keep
that's
this as
nice.
possible as
All right,
possible.
That's nice.
As possible, as happy, as positive as possible is what I was trying to say.
I mean, to be honest with you, I think at this moment I think Steve would have the best chance.
Okay.
I mean, he's the oldest, so
Sure.
he needs.
So he needs it
he
first.
needs it first. But he is super charismatic, and he has his hands in a lot of different. Like, he has a big audience, and
Yeah.
everyone loves Steve, and like, I mean, he gets big opportunities all the time. I mean, he deserves them. But
Yeah.
I could see him, and he's not a stand-up, but
Right.
I could see him going from like just becoming that guy you watch on TV or like the interview. You know, I could see him blowing up.
He's
in that sense.
one of the most effortlessly funny people I've ever.
It's true.
And thank God he won't listen to this episode, so he won't
Yeah,
hear me
exactly.
talking
No,
about
but
him.
he makes me laugh a lot, and but we're on a different path. I'm just saying, like, if you're saying the fastest, if you got rid of Steve in the equation, then that's a harder question.
Yeah. I think it's Theo.
Theo Manhattan, you think?
Theo has once his material catches up with how good his look and sound and feel is.
Yeah.
He's all. Dude,
I love
He's gonna
Theo,
be in
man.
every commercial. He's gonna be in every B movie,
Yeah, yeah,
and I think he's gonna be a billionaire.
yeah. I could see him being successful in that weird, like, off, like, you know. Not to compare the two, but they do have a similar, like, Carrot Top. Like,
Yeah.
people shit talk Carrot Top all the time.
Is it because of
But-
my hair?
But in the comics who know Carrot Top, I've never heard a comic say a bad thing about him. They're always like, oh, he's the dopest dude. He's so funny. He knows exactly what it is. And then Carrot Top, like, if you ask him, like, are you mad that people laugh at you? And he goes, well, I'm a comedian. People are supposed to laugh at me, you know?
Smart.
And he's a prop guy, and he doesn't care. And I think, like, and everyone's like, he's in Vegas every day, and he lives in this huge mansion, and he's chilling. So
Yeah, man.
I think you're right. He could
From
be
telling jokes.
He could be big. I mean, yeah. I don't know.
I just would
I
love
hope
to
that
see.
all of
I would
us-
have the biggest fucking grin on my face.
It would be amazing if all of us made it. It would be really shitty if like one of us didn't. And
Yeah,
that- and
everyone but one.
Yeah,
Okay, so now reverse question.
Yeah.
Out of those 5 people, who's the one that doesn't make it?
Oh man, I don't know. I guess Elliot. No, I'm just kidding.
Remember when we had that comedian
was-
come up to us and it
Oh.
was...
Oh yeah, I know. Tracy or whatever.
Yeah.
One of you's gonna make it. Forget about the rest of you.
It was me, you, and Elliot just being friends outside. And she
Yeah.
comes up to us and goes, one of you's gonna make it.
Well, she was mad because I guess she was huge back in the day.
Yeah.
She kind of quit for a little bit to reassess life. And I guess Sam Tripoli was one of her friends.
Yeah.
And totally just kind of like walked past her without saying hi.
Right.
And then that set her off to then come kick the cat of young comedians and be like, see how he treated me?
Right.
One of you is going to treat the other one.
But I think at the end of the night, like, everyone was cool. Like, it was only like a 10-minute thing.
Oh, we were cool. She was just saying when one of us makes it famous.
Yeah.
We're not going to be cool. Like,
But even them, I think,
Oh, yeah.
Like there was like uncomfortableness for like 5 minutes, and then he was like, "Oh, what's up?"
Oh,
and
man, I didn't see you. I really had to go to the bathroom first. Sorry. Love you, Tracy.
I've had diarrhea all day. It's real good to see you again.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Do you have anything specific to plug? You got shows coming up?
On the 1st of next month, I have...
What is next? October.
Is that 10? Okay, so 10/5, the 5th of October.
Yeah.
I have Definitely Not Star Search at the Hollywood Improv.
Yeah.
And follow me on Instagram at Local One Way. I've been I post all my shows there. Everything. That's like
you're good at stories too.
Yeah, I'm much better at Instagram than Twitter for some reason. But follow me there. You'll get to see all the stuff. If you want to see more photos of Lee, they're on there.
Sure,
so,
doggies.
Dogs, Lee, Van, me.
If you need headshots.
If you need headshots, I take headshots. If you're like, I really want to meet him, but I don't want to be creepy, hire me for headshots.
I really want to meet him, but I also want to pay him for it.
Yeah, exactly.
That was a HeadGum podcast.